Hello, everybody. I'm readjusting. I thought I had it. I was ready for reentry, and after our little discussion of do I do a countdown, do I not do a countdown? Because if all is right with the world and I've done this right, I will be in the chat chatting with anybody who happens by here to see us. So hello, I'm Aurora.
I'm Mandy.
Hi. We're the Unfiltered Tea, and we've been on a break.
Indeed.
The holidays happened. I don't know about you, but my holidays included some funerals. That was not a good couple of weeks. Um, so yeah, we're back finally. Um, Jobs have not entirely eaten us. I made it through year end. If any of you work at a law firm, you know what, or an accounting firm, year end is a year end is a whole deal. Year end is
It,
a whole deal.
it is a truly demonic time. Yes.
Mhm, mhm. I survived it. All is well. So yeah, hi everybody. Mandy sent me a text the other night and said, "Want to come back and do a show?" And I was like, "Yes, I do." And then she said, "You want to do court stuff?" And I was like, "Oh, you mean all of the court? Because everybody's in court right now. All of the court."
All of news is about who's in court. That's everything. I mean, well, it's not everything, sadly, but a lot of news is about who's in court and what's happening in court. Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And I'm gonna skirt the Trump stuff for right now because I really want to actually look at. I want to look specifically at Georgia and the craziness that happened in Georgia with exposing an affair between two folks but it doesn't mean there's a conflict, and I want to look at that.
Yeah.
And I haven't had enough time to do a deep dive because been watching um I've been watching trials while I've been working. So, yeah, and court coverage in general. So, I've got a little list, and we're going to keep this. I'm going to try to keep this light ish, although all three of these cases involve people who have met their end in terrible, terrible ways. So, the cases themselves are horrible. However, all of them have brought some entertainment. I was listening to the Crumbley trial at work today, and I said to one of my coworkers, I was like, "Oh no, we've reached Bravo level of spice right now. Like, you watch Bravo, I listen to court. That's how this goes." So, I'm going to start with well, who do you want to start with, Mandy? The notes that I have up for don't forget to talk about these are Murdaugh, the Crumbley case, and Baldwin.
Ooh. Um. You know what? Let's start with Murdaugh. That one's been we've been talking about that on and off for a while now. So let's bring that one back.
We have. All right, with that, I should run our intro before I get
Indeed.
much farther into this. I'm going to also try a new StreamYard feature, which StreamYard's so great. It pops up and it's like, hey, we have a new feature. And I'm like, hey, let's see if I can do that for time stamping purposes. So I'm going to run the intro, try the new feature. We'll see how that goes. And then we will discuss Murdaugh.
Hello and welcome to the Unfiltered Tea, a show where we say all the things you wish the newscasters said, unscripted and unfiltered. We talk about news, politics, and entertainment, so pull up your soapbox, pour yourself a cuppa, and let's go.
And I did not sip my wine, but it was perfect just right as I was doing that. Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay, Murdaugh. So, where have you been following this at all, or do you just follow this through me and my, "Oh my god, what is happening?"
That second thing, yes, 100%. I find I get plenty of information that way, and saves me time, really.
If anybody would ever like to join me in the Law Nerd chat, that is where I watch all of the Murdaugh stuff, and I have 2 favorite court casters. Emily D. Baker is one of them, and Scott of Recovery Addict is my other favorite court caster. If EDB is not covering a trial, then Scott usually is, and I will watch there. If they both cover a trial, I'm doomed because I I don't know. I don't know where to be. I will say that EDB says all the things that I wish I could say out loud and that I'm surprised nobody says in court. So with Murdaugh, okay. So he was convicted. And then a while back, his attorneys were like, hey, we need to put everything on hold because some shit went down with the jury. We swear here, by the way, in case you missed that in the intro. Some shit went down with the jury. We need a new trial. And in the middle of all of this, the clerk of court wrote a book about the Murdaugh case, which she self-published, which she's now had to remove from self-publishing because in the emails that she received while all these things were happening, was an article for BBC or The Guardian or something like that. And she took the article and just put it in her book.
Oh, okay.
And you can't do that. That's plagiarism.
Indeed.
So, yeah, and then so in all of this, it was determined that there needed to be an evidentiary hearing because there was some rumors of jurors maybe having some issue, basically were the jurors impacted by Courthouse Becky talking to them about literally anything other than, can I get you a coffee? Go here, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Pretty clear that Courthouse Becky said some things she shouldn't have said to the jury. What is not clear, and in the evidentiary hearing, 11 out of the 12 jurors were like, yeah, whatever she said had no impact on my on, on my decision, on my verdict. And the justice, who was adorable, I love the Southern Court judges and justices, and the one presiding over this case was the first female Supreme Court justice for the Supreme Court of the state of South Carolina. She was not having antics. She ran her courtroom like, this is how we're doing this. This is what's happening. I listened to the entire feed. Highly recommend. If you want an entertaining day of court, again, Emily D. Baker, Leonard Channel, go find it there. You will not be sorry. Well, your pets might be sorry because there are definitely a couple of times where she's like, what? Yeah. Becky Hill was one of the ones that went on the stand during that evidentiary hearing.
Right.
And the thing is, if you're gonna go on the stand and there's already been a FOIA request for your emails for like the last, I don't know what it was, 3 months, 6 months, whatever, long enough that you can be impeached on your own emails that are in just out in the public. Maybe don't lie. Maybe don't lie on the stand.
Just a thought.
Oh, yeah, the 11 of the 12 jurors were like, nothing impacted my verdict. And you could just hear in their voices, please, can I go home now? I've had enough. I don't want to talk to Poot anymore. I don't want to talk to Creighton Waters anymore. I just want to go home. You already took 6 weeks out of my life. Leave me alone. And then there was one that was like, I mean, but she said stuff, and so this is going to go on appeal, and who knows what's going to keep happening. For me, it was a math problem.
Yeah. None of that makes sense. I just gotta say, like, none of that feels like a good reason for a retry. No, I disagree. I veto. Do I have veto power in this case?
I mean, you definitely have the power to agree with Justice Toll, who was like, I have weighed and measured all of the arguments and looked at Murdaugh and his entire team and went, and you have been found wanting. Like, no new trial. Justice has been served. Please, for the love of God, crawl back into your caves and leave me alone.
Oh my gosh.
She didn't say that part, but yeah. You are a little laggy.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Let me try restarting my camera. Sometimes that old trick works.
I'm telling you, tech tonight, it was, it took me a while to get my computer to even recognize my camera. I'm hitting a button here. There we go. Talk to me, baby. You're a little late.
Better.
That's okay.
I need better technology. I'm behind the times. It's terrible.
That's okay. I'm coming down. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to go visit Miss Mandy before too long. And when I do, I promise all of you, I'm taking her shopping within my price range of things so that we can look spiffy together.
Please.
I say, sorry, I have a collar issue and I'm wearing a sweater that I adore, but also the collar is very high.
Yes. I was wearing something earlier today that kept scratching my neck. Which is like, get over it, right? But oh my God, all day long. I was like, stop it. Leave me alone.
No, you can get over it, but if you have sensory things, it's not. So, and then I just distracted myself. Yep, totally.
So new trial for Murdaugh. Murdaugh is
no new trial right now. He's been convicted on the financial crimes. He doesn't get to move to Club Fed as he has wanted to do. He's just gonna have to figure it out. He seems to be figuring out jail life real well. I do have a theory on the whole Becky Hill Murdaugh, why she wrote the book, why she just lied, just all the lies, just open mouth.
Okay.
Excerpt lie.
I would love this. I love this.
So it's a super tiny town or area from everything I've managed to gather. And she said something on the stand like his grandfather and her grandfather were always like they basically ran the town together.
Ah, okay.
It's not so much that I fully think she was like, "Oh, he's guilty. We need to get a guilty verdict. That is a thing." She seems to have about as good a relationship with the truth as he does.
Ah,
And so I'm thinking she maybe saw an opportunity for attention and for stepping into the running the county part of things.
yeah.
That's definitely it's like they've been number 2 for so many generations. She saw an opportunity to move into
Yep.
number 1. Kind of that was the vibe I was getting. I could be wrong. This is just speculation. Not
That
defamation, speculation.
sounds like a good story that you're putting together. It is a convincing story that you are putting together. Yes.
Hey, look, I'm doing better than the prosecutor of some of the trials I'm watching.
There you go. It's storytelling. They just seem not to know that. Yeah. A lot, so I don't watch nearly as much court proceeding as you do, but a lot of what I have seen just in clips and such seems like we are raising lawyers these days, being
Mhm.
the salty old bitch that I am. We are raising lawyers these days to argue individual points and try to win that way, as though, particularly in a jury trial.
Yeah.
The jury, I mean, I doubt that works with a judge either in a non-jury trial, but in a jury trial, the jury doesn't have a scorecard. They're not going, how many times were your objections sustained? How many times? No, they don't care. They need a good story. That's what
Mhm.
they need. They need a story that is more believable than the story that is being told by the other side. And it seems, again, I don't watch like full trials, but the little bits that I see, it seems like we've lost that art in the practice of law.
Yes. I think you're right. I think it really the differences that I've seen from trial to trial to trial in just the last few months have been vast.
Mm.
Like, for example, the Taking Care of Maya trial, which is a civil trial. So they just had to get to the preponderance of the evidence, not beyond reasonable doubt. And that was with a judge who was great with the jury, kept everybody in line, and he was kind of soft on the defense. I will say, in my opinion, he was kind of soft on the defense, but as the trial went through, it had already been kicked down from so many appeals. And I think this judge wants, I think I've heard rumblings that he wants to be an appellate judge.
Mm.
And he did a really good job walking the lines of all of the different things. I learned so much about things I never thought that I would even care to know on that trial. Um, but he kept all of the attorneys in line. He kept them all within their time for the most part. It was wild to watch the jury be able to ask questions in real time. So you would get like the jury doing cross examination in a sense. Um, and which also led to the defense when they lost miserably for all of the right reasons. They tried to bring one of the jurors in and be like and say that he was biased and stuff like that. Oh my goodness. I will find that clip and I will send it to you because I cannot remember which channel that was on that I saw it on. One of the ones I've mentioned probably, but it was brilliant to watch him come in and just be like, no, it's this, it's that, it's the other. But again, with the story, like, you have to build a good story. You just have to build a good story. And then whoever's story is the most believable and has the most facts to back it up, that's usually the story the jury goes with. And I have some serious issues with some of these attorneys just coming in and going, here's what we're gonna do. Or pooty poot nincompoot. In the Murdaugh trial, like, but judge, no, one more word. No, one more. I'm being terribly unfair. Please strike that from the record. That is terribly, terribly unfair to this man who has earned his place. He has a way of things that makes me annoyed. And so, yeah. Yep. I apologize. We are midwinter and my eyeballs cannot take the heat and cold and changing.
Yeah, and it gets so dry with the heat on in the house. Yeah.
And I was in the office today, which is drier than the desert. Speaking, I found it. I found a segue to Baldwin. I'm gonna swoop. If I can find my swoop. I'm getting there. It's been a while, people. There we go.
Nothing.
And I didn't hit my. There we
go. I wasn't doing anything. There was nothing happening here.
I'm gonna take it. So yes, we're headed to the desert. I'm gonna take a nice big old sip of my cold brew tea over here.
Yeah, so to catch us up on this one, this has been going on longer than I expected it to because it is so in the public eye. But here we are. When did the event actually occur? I'm trying to backtrack in time in my mind, and it feels like it's been close to a year.
I'm going to look that up. I'm actually going to look it up because October 21st of 2021 was the day of the event.
Wow.
So it's been a while.
Okay.
It's been a hot minute.
I undersold that by a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
So indeed, it has been 2 years and a bit. Lovely. God. You know what I have, I guess, to give someone credit for is I don't think that I've seen, although I haven't been watching like the awards shows this year the way that I normally do, but I haven't seen a lot of Alec Baldwin. It seems like he has made himself a little more scarce than he used to be on the scene.
I think given well, the entire grouping of the internet basically saying, hey, maybe shut up. It is your legal right to stop talking.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he maybe finally heard that it was no, you know what it was? I'll get there. I'll get a full thought. I really will. It was after they had successfully ousted the annoying prosecutor the first time.
Yeah.
And yeah, they had successfully ousted her, and I think they were like, hey, we're in the clear. And the prosecutor's office was like, no. You just go sit in the corner, but you're not allowed to leave the premises. I proverbially speaking, not literally in the corner.
Well, I now have a vision of somebody in a timeout chair, which I absolutely am going to carry with me forever. Yeah. Yeah. I think courtrooms should have timeout chairs. I know lots of people who are in courtrooms who need a timeout chair. Big time.
Yes.
Just, no, shut up. You go sit over there. You'll get 1 minute for every year of your life. Go sit down.
What does that mean? That would go. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm just picturing Justice Toll putting Dick Harpootlian in a timeout chair for 1 minute for every year of his life, and I don't know how old that man is, but we would have a full hour of him sitting in, plus, I think, of him sitting in a timeout chair.
Facing the wall, Blair Witch style. Just just that's where you need to be right now. Thank you for playing. You lose. Oh.
I'm gonna mess my camera up. My camera's gonna forget to focus on me. Yes.
Mine has given up. I hope you can still hear me because from where I sit, it looks like you probably can't see me. So I apologize.
I can still hear you. I have a lovely picture of Miss Mandy that does the
is almost as old
thing.
as this event that the trial is about. Yeah.
Yes.
That is about the era from which that picture comes.
Yep, and my camera has forgotten that I exist. So yeah. We get to do the fun thing of can you find me? Can you find me, camera? There we go.
There's your face. Yay!
Yeah, so October of 21, I just lost the actual charge for Hannah Gutierrez Reed. Involuntary manslaughter, I do believe.
Trying to look it up, but I'm not fast enough.
What she's being tried, and that trial starts Valentine's Day? Think.
Lovely.
I think she's having Valentine's Day in court. I think that's happening. It's around there. And I did find the court YouTube feed, which is where it is slated to go. So maybe when we go to do this, it will actually be something that I can pull up and we can look at some things.
Lovely.
Which would be entertaining. And yeah, Baldwin did get indicted again.
Poor thing.
He pled not guilty, which is a bold stance. I get that he's pleading, pardon me, not guilty, but also, sir, you were the one holding the weapon. The problem is you. You are the problem. The problem is you. I know it's more complicated than that. I do. I recognize it's more complicated than that, and the prosecutors on this particular case drive me crazy with some of the antics that have gone into this. Trying to stay as prosecutor when you're not allowed to under your state constitution, and you've just been elected a legislator there.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's a problem.
It's not a good look. It's not a good look.
No. So, and he's up on involuntary manslaughter again, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you have you in your travels with this trial? Like, I'm trying to look up right now, and again, failing on the timing piece because they say timing is everything, and I have none. But I'm trying to remember how exactly involuntary manslaughter is defined.
Oh, let me look that one up, and I can find it and even pull it up. Hang on 1 second. I need to figure out how I'm going to do this. I can do this. I can do this, folks. Really, I can.
Oh, okay. I have the Wikipedia definition.
For New Mexico?
Probably not. You keep going.
Okay.
Please stand by. We are experiencing technical incompetence.
We got this. We got this. Google search.
Okay, involuntary, I've got New Mexico. Involuntary manslaughter consists of a killing that was unintentional, resulting from either recklessness or criminal negligence.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And if
So
the
I guess he's contesting that he was not reckless or criminally negligent, which somebody was. This does not happen unless there was negligence. And because it
Yep.
was fatal, I would call that criminal negligence. With all my years of legal training, which don't exist, people listening and watching, I'm not trained in law whatsoever.
No.
But that
Me
would
neither.
seem to me to be criminally negligent,
Well,
personally.
and you and I have done theater, and the argument that he keeps making and the argument that some other places keep making are that he was just an actor. So it wasn't his job to double check the gun.
That's wrong.
That's exactly what I said. Yeah.
I mean, it's been years since I worked in an equity or other union house. But even in instances in community theater, or other non-union theaters, that the practice is everybody who touches it has to check it.
Yep.
You
That's always
limit the number of people who touch it, and every person who touches it has to check it.
That has been my exact training. Up to and including sometimes having an additional stage manager whose sole job it is to guard that table
Mm-hmm.
and only allow the actor to touch, whether it's a fake sword or a gun. Only the actor, the stage manager, the assistant stage manager guarding it, and the actor, they are the only ones allowed to touch it. And absolutely everybody double checks to make sure everything is in place.
Yep.
And as it
And
should
it's
be.
not, I mean, part of it is absolutely safety. Part of it is also however it needs to function for the actual purpose it's being used for on stage or on screen. You have to make
Yep.
sure that it's prepared to do whatever it's supposed to do correctly. So it's both things, but safety is, what I think keeps everybody in line. So I'd have to look, and I'm not going to do it while we're on camera, but before we talk about this trial again, I'm going to see if I can look up some equity rules.
That would be super fascinating because, I just don't see a way around it. And I don't know why his attorneys, I mean, he's probably been like, I'm not guilty. And this is speculation based on the number of interviews he's given about this, which has indicated a remorse level and empathy level of -10. Maybe he shows it funny. I will give him the benefit of the doubt and say maybe he shows those things in a way that I don't understand. But I'm usually pretty good at reading a room and reading a person, and he doesn't. He seems to care more about himself than he cares about the fact that he was the human that
The consequences of,
did the thing.
I mean, no matter how you look at the guilt for, the responsibility for what was in that weapon, he
Right.
was the person holding it,
Yeah.
and somebody died. I completely agree with you. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to find the other argument, right? Like, maybe if he appears guilt-ridden, he thinks that will make everybody think he's guilty. I don't know. That's the best I can come up with. That's the best I've got. And I'm sorry. I have enjoyed him in many acting scenarios, but I don't think he's that good of an actor. To pull that off, I mean.
Yeah,
To
exactly.
be guilt-riddled and actually be able to hide it.
I don't think he's that brilliant
Mm-mm.
at the acting part. He seems to have the same facial problem that I have, judging by interviews and his acting, but he does seem to have the if I don't say it out loud, my face sure will.
Yes.
Like,
My face is speaking before my mouth is speaking. Yes, indeed.
yes.
Yes.
what was your number one problem in retail, Aurora? My face. My face. Because if
Yeah.
somebody asks me something really stupid, my face says, "You just said what now?"
That's why I do not do well with bosses who don't make sense or who
Yep.
are in any way crazy, because it's like I can't sit there and look at you like you're not crazy. I just can't do that. So now you're crazy and mad at me. Excellent. This is perfect. Yay.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
So that doesn't seem like a likely, but I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I really do, but it's hard to in this situation. It really is.
and when the assistant director pled guilty,
Yeah.
and part of the guilty plea was agreeing to testify in the trials for the armorer Hannah Gutierrez Reed and Alec Baldwin. I feel like he made a bad choice by pleading not guilty.
I agree. Yes.
I get
Yes,
it.
I
I
agree with
could
that.
see no contest, which isn't guilty. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe New Mexico doesn't have that. I'll give him that. I'm going to be fascinated. I am going to be fascinated to see what comes out. I'm going to be fascinated to see what discovery happens.
Indeed.
Because the man didn't stop talking, and your words can and will be used against you.
Don't we all know that by now? Like, haven't we all heard that enough times on TV? I mean, he probably said that.
Quoting Kathleen Madigan, and more specifically her father, I do not recall. I need an attorney. Those are the only things you say when there is like, I do not recall. I need an attorney. That's it. That's all you say. That's it. Shush. Shh. Stop writing books if you're an elected official in a courthouse about a trial. Don't. Stop writing books, people. Just can everybody just shush? Shh. Did you intentionally mute yourself, Mandy? I said shush, but I didn't necessarily mean you.
Oh, you're talking to me? No, I am in the process of trying, and apparently plugging in my camera said that I needed to be quiet. I don't understand it, but
Okay. You're back.
okay. Hi. And I appear to not be totally laggy. I'm a little out of focus. But not, but yeah. Hi.
Yeah.
It's my
Hi.
top of my head glowing like the devil.
You're doing the Kirby thing, just the
That's
top
amazing.
of it. I can't.
We're gonna see if we can adjust things a little. Still shiny, still very shiny. But I'm here. Hi. How are
You're
you?
here. You're in real time. All is right with the world.
I win for now. I love that.
Yay!
Love it when I
Cheers.
win.
Cheers to being back. So yeah, I'm going to be following Baldwin real closely, mostly because that man, no lies here, the man is not on my coffee list. 10 out of 10, do not want to meet. Don't even really
Agreed.
want to be in the same coffee shop as him, ever. If I saw him walking towards me, I would probably cross the street. We don't have much in common other than who we vote for. And that doesn't, I have more in common with some YouTubers that I watch that I agree with on almost nothing. Nope. And her trial starts Valentine's Day.
I think so.
Sorry,
I think
my
that's right.
brain is also buffering because it's Friday and it's late. I'm more curious about the Hannah Gutierrez retrial because she was the armorer. Was she the reason there was live bullets on set? Somebody had to be the reason there was live bullets on set. And
I
that's
think
the
so.
question that I want answered. And so far, no news article has answered that for me. So I really hope Discovery and Trial brings that out. And then we can focus on him. And I will just. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I could not sit on that jury.
No, nor could I. I mean, yeah, again, having actually been a stage manager who has handed weapons off, I just can't.
I can't get past he didn't bother to check it.
I will also say, if I were anyone in that line of, preparing and handing off the weapon, I would feel just as guilty.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying from a legal standpoint that anyone else is. I'm not trying to transfer guilt, but I'm saying it's not just Baldwin, but he is the one who seems the most impassive about it. So
yeah, I think that's a good
weird. I don't know.
So that's Baldwin thing. So we will be doing a deeper dive into Baldwin.
We'll be getting rusty.
We will be getting rusty. Yes. Yes. I had a thought. Don't mind me. I'm buffering.
Try to catch it. You can do it.
Buffering.
All I'm doing is trying to sit far enough back from my light source that my forehead is not glowing. So that's all I got right now.
I mean, I don't see a specific glow there. I look like we are in the dead of winter, and I tend to tan better than most of my friends. But good Lord, I look like a ghost today.
You on this side, from this side, observing you do not look like a ghost, but you do not have a tan. I will agree with that statement. You are not tan right now.
No. Yeah, no, office life. Yep. I don't get the same. I get less sunlight than my Christmas cactus in the office at times, and you can't put direct sunlight on a Christmas cactus. Don't do that. But mine,
it does not like the sunlight.
No, it likes me. It sits next to me, but we don't get direct sunlight. I get the most direct sunlight, and clearly, it's not enough. So yes. And ladies and gentlemen, this might look a little funny. I will explain it later. Okay. I hit it. Hang on. I'm buffering. I'm out of my game. I'm out of my game. Bumper, swoopy swoop.
She's not just off her game, folks. She's out.
I'm out.
All the way out. And I'm in the dark. Yay! It's a banner day here at the Unfiltered D.
You're working the Blair Witch Project. Like, look right now.
Did you hear that?
No. Nope, I'm not gonna die. I'm gonna sip my tea.
Don't
my
die.
tea.
So, how's everybody doing?
Okay.
You should take a little sip of whatever you're drinking. Yes, you should.
Yeah. Sip. Take a moment. Readjust your seat. Have a little sip of whatever it is. Hydrate. Do not hydrate. I don't know. Is it morning? Are you having coffee? If you're watching and I'm in the chat, let me know. I'm curious. What are you sipping? Are you sipping tea with the unfiltered tea? Inquiring minds want to know. I realize I'm looking anywhere but directly at the camera. Yeah. Hi, welcome to my brain. Some thoughts are supposed to stay in my head and instead just come out of my face hole.
Thank you for flying Aurora Airlines. Please keep your thoughts and unwanted facial expressions inside your brain at all times for everyone's safety. Enjoy the flight.
Trying. I'm trying.
Oh, all right, all right.
Okay.
We've got one left.
We have one left. We have one left. And of course, it's the worst, like the actual
Oh,
case
yeah.
of is terrible. I know very little about it, but I know that it's bad. Just bad. The case itself, the trial that I have been following is for the mother of the perpetrator of the crime. I can't remember what YouTube likes and doesn't like, so I'm gonna be very cautious about certain things.
Term. Yeah.
And they're charging her also for involuntary manslaughter and gross
Interesting.
negligence under Michigan state law. Now we have a judge who has made but like 3 rulings. You know, like when you say object and then say the reason and the judge says sustained or overruled.
Sure.
No, it's all just conversation happening in a courtroom that is the size of a shoebox. Like it is tiny. And all of the conversations have been happening in front of the jury. Seriously, if you want attorney takes on this, Law and Lumber is covering it on Friday Night Frenzy tonight. Go watch it there. Just there. Go there. That is Peter Tragos on Lawyer You Know has also covered it. But if you want the sass, Law and Lumber. That's where I would go. And because that's where you will get some of the attorneys being like, what just happened? Which was me all day today. So I'm like listening to this trial at work. I've been listening to this trial. Now when I'm doing stuff at home, the dog does not much care. She's just like, if I scream at my iPad, she's just like, really, Ma? Is it worth it? But when I have my earbuds in and I'm doing billing and stuff at work, and then all of a sudden I'm like, what are you doing? My coworkers tend to be like, what trial are you watching? They've learned. So between the judge not making actual rulings, all of the attorneys, every single one, the prosecutors, the defense, every single one of them sounds like a hangry 13-year-old. All of them. It's very annoying to listen to.
I'll bet.
And the actual crux of the case being that the parents are being charged individually for involuntary manslaughter for the actions of their kid. To get back to the serious part, my thoughts again escaped my brain before they were given leave to. I started paying attention to this because I am very concerned about the slippery slope that this might open up if convicted.
The precedent,
Yeah, that precedent for a parent not knowing ahead of time what their child, in this case a teenager, is gonna do before they do it. And where's the line? Because I've seen in some of the chats, like, no, you have to watch them. You have to watch the kids. You have to watch the kids. And so this is where I was like, Mandy, we need to talk about this because as a 15-year-old, if my parents insisted on seeing my diary, I would have been mad. and I would
Yeah.
have had a different one that I would have hidden from them. And I will admit, I have not watched his hearing. I haven't watched any of that. I I wanted to go into this particular case basically making the prosecutor catch me up, right? If I hadn't seen all of this, how do I get to why you charged them?
Right.
And I will get into where the prosecutor officially lost me, just left me in the dust, kicked me out of the vehicle. No, later. But my initial thing is, how do you get to involuntary manslaughter if, while the news media sound bites are they just gave him the gun and that was that? What's the actual information on this?
Yeah.
And the actual information that has come out in trial does not indicate at any moment where it was just like, here's your gun, go do what you want. Sorry, I don't think YouTube likes that term, but like, here's your pew pew, have fun. They didn't ever prove that that's what happened. Prosecutors didn't, the defense sure, there was no, and I'm sorry, but like, I know some 15-year-olds, if they know the combo to the box, and okay, a parent took away their phone. In my head, I heard that and I was like, yeah, that doesn't mean they don't have their phone.
Yeah.
A parent taking their phone away does not necessarily mean the kid doesn't have their phone, because it removes a certain level of autonomy of the 15-year-old that I have a problem with. And where do you draw the line? So that's my issue with that case is, so you, Mandy, happen to be the parent of a teenager.
Indeed.
And so I'm
It's
buffering, so
hard. It's really difficult for me to weigh in without having watched the case and without knowing, what the facts are, because it is a difficult line. I mean, in the era of parenting, when kids do have phones, they have all sorts of devices. They have, even if you do take their phone away, I don't know if it's this way everywhere, but my child has a school issued computer during the school year that is and I am the type of parent where I can cut off her internet access if it comes to that. I'm the type of parent, you were talking about a diary. One of the conditions of my child having a phone is that every so often I say, let me look at your phone. And I don't read every text message she's ever sent or every social media post. And there are some social media sites that are specifically designed so that what you say disappears after you say it. So I'm definitely not seeing every single thing that she's ever done, and that's not my intention. But I'm browsing, and that is again a condition of her having it, is that I can look at it anytime I want just to make sure there's nothing crazy going on. Now I think of that as more protective of my child rather than protecting the world from my child. But I do think that you have to be a little bit more insistent on, your child doesn't have privacy rights. In my house, my child doesn't. I give her as much space and privacy as she earns by being a responsible, good in everything that I can see of her person. But if I had a reason to be concerned, I would be right up her ass. Does that mean that I could stop her from taking out her anger how she chose to? Absolutely not. She walks out the door every day with the best advice I was able to give her up until that very moment. And, her wits, the backpack. And what she does from there is really up to her. So it's a really hard line to draw. It's a really hard line to draw. And I'm a person who chooses not to have weapons in my house because accidents and tempers and all of those things just scare me too much. But that's not a policy I have for the world. That's what I choose in my own house. So I have never really had to think about, does she know where it is? Can she get into it? All of those sorts of things. But again, that's because I choose not to have to worry about this kind of thing.
Well, and you said something that I think is interesting, because that is something that seems to be the case in this trial. Of you said, I view it as protecting her from others, not me protecting her from, not protecting others from her.
Yeah.
Which is the dichotomy in this trial, is to hear this woman testify, to see the evidence that was presented. It didn't seem like she wasn't paying any attention. It didn't seem like, and even the evidence the prosecution was reiterating in their closing, when I could follow it, when I could follow that train, if it were one of my nieces or nephews, I would be more concerned that they would hurt themselves. All of the signs, to me, just reading it, were like, could there be harm done? Yes, but the potential harm I was seeing in what they showed was internal. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of things. I'm trying to skirt and avoid certain words, but it seemed more likely to me, from the evidence presented, that it would be internal, not external. And then I also think of, I wrote in creative writing my sophomore year, so same age ish. My sophomore year in high school, I got called into a teacher's office because they said, write, it was a creative writing assignment. You had to write the exact opposite of what you were feeling. So, like, you had to take who you were and what you were and all of that, and do something the exact opposite, like as far opposite as you could get. I turned around and wrote a James Patterson style short story about a lady serial killer.
Nice.
To this day, one of my favorite pieces of writing. I can't find it because it's on a computer that won't even power up anymore.
Yeah.
But, or maybe it's handwritten. I had printouts at one point. One of my favorite pieces of writing of all time. Scared correctly, but this was before. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is before Columbine. This is before this was a thing.
Yeah.
This is before any of this was anything more than what the teacher did. So if anybody's coming for my teacher, don't, because he did. It was a year and a half before Columbine happened. This was not an everyday occurrence back then. And he pulled me aside and he was like, "Do I need to be concerned?" I was like, "Why?" He said to write something the exact opposite of me. That's about as opposite of me as I can get. He was like, walk it back. Get a little closer to you.
Yeah.
But I can't help but think about that, of when I'm seeing these things, are they alarming? Yes, but only if you take them all with hindsight of what actually happened.
Well, and also, I think there was a reference to something written on homework or something like that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
In most cases with my child, I don't see her homework because it's not, at least here, they don't bring home worksheets like we did and handwrite essays, and it all happens on the computer. So I wouldn't even see something like that being written on our homework. So that's a little scary. And you also, I mean, I just feel like we also have to take a second and talk about the fact that in most cases, regardless of the age of the perpetrator, when you look with hindsight, there are a number of signs.
Yep.
And it's not only a dangerous precedent to set in the parent-child relationship, it's a dangerous precedent to set for violent crime. It really is. And I also imagine there are a number of people in an extraordinary amount of pain that maybe don't know how to move forward with their lives, that maybe need somebody, multiple people, as many people as they can put on a, at a defendant's table and on a witness stand to blame and to be angry at and to continue to focus on so that they don't have to try and move forward. So, but that's not a reason for someone to wind up in court. It's just not.
And I understand wanting others to take the blame. And if it were a lawsuit, that would make sense. Wrongful death lawsuit or some sort of civil lawsuit would make sense to me. It would also make sense to me if all of the counselors at the school also got brought up on that and other things, because I get stuck with it just being the parents and putting all of that on them. I don't think that's fair, because there's a lot of people in a kid's life at 15 that isn't just the parent. Now, that said, I'm gonna take a slight turn here, because for me, when I watch these things, I go into it with, if I were sitting on the jury and I had to match letter of law with evidence shown, I get to not guilty, because if you're gonna make an error, you make an error in the not guilty. Wait, that's how our system is set up. If we don't like it, we call our Congress people. That's that's the breaks. I think it's interesting that we are avoiding the question of, and they did everything right. They followed all the rules. There was a waiting period. There wasn't, it's one of those cases. It's not like what happened in Maine, where it was like everybody was going, this is going to be a problem, and nobody did anything until it was a problem. It's not like Uvalde, where we now have all this evidence, where it's like, you could have done something. Like, can we focus on those instances where the prosecutors could prove some of these things? I'm paraphrasing Mandy, but at one point in close, I think she started her closing for this. I'm not pulling it up because all the streams that I would want to use to pull up the video evidence the video evidence. Can you tell I've been watching a trial all day? The video for it, I haven't gotten permission to use that particular video for it yet, and I would rather wait until I have permission.
Yes.
And I'm paraphrasing, but when the prosecutor walked out and was basically like, I don't have to prove all 4 points of, it's 4 counts of gross negligence and voluntary manslaughter. I don't have to prove all of this. And I'm going, so Mandy, you were raised by a lawyer.
You literally have one job.
Thank you. You're the prosecutor.
That's like if I were in calculus and I was like, I did the first step of the derivation. Just, the rest is fine. We're done. That doesn't make any sense. It's literally why the charges have multiple points is because you can't prove all of the points and the charge doesn't stick. That's so bad. Oh, I gotta cool down. Oof.
So maybe I'm
Sorry,
wrong.
Very loud.
Strikes me as something that no matter what the public outcry was, if you can't prove it, maybe don't bring the charges. Because as I understand it, again, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not an attorney. I just work for them. If you don't charge it and you get the evidence, circumstantial or otherwise, to be able to prove your case beyond reasonable doubt, if you are within whatever statute of limitations there is for that particular crime, you can still charge it later. I don't have to. Yes, you do. The defense in a criminal case has one job: provide reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
That's it.
Did the judge have anything to say about this statement?
The judge.
Because
I don't know her as a
seems
person.
like that would go directly against proper jury instructions. Again, I have no legal training, but I have lived with lawyers pretty much my whole life. So, lived with meaning as family, not they are not in this house, but yeah.
Mandy, the judge made like 3 actual rulings the whole time I was watching this. There's been a lot more objections, but it's not like objection, hearsay, sustained, or overruled. That has not been the conversation. It has been like, objection, they're doing a thing that I do not like. Sorry, Macy. And I don't want to have them do that anymore. And this is not this is not just the defense attorney. This is the defense, the prosecution. This is attorneys at both tables have sounded to me like this. Objection, blah blah blah. And so it's speaking objections with no case law cited anywhere, like anywhere, and the argument goes back and forth until the conversation seems to be over, and the judge making some commentary but never sustain overrule, and then the trial has continued. And bonus, this is all done in front of the jury, not at sidebar.
Is it possible, you know how like when you need dental work done, you can choose to go to like a dental school, right? And the children who are still learning about how to be dentists, you can let them deal with your face and not pay quite so much as you would if you went to an actual dentist who had finished dental school, right? So is it possible that this trial is actually being run in a similar fashion? Is that a possibility? Do we know?
It definitely
lawyers are too expensive. We're just going to use law school students. Okay, I know you guys don't quite know all the things yet, but just come on, we'll be fine. And like the judge, it's like the junior bench. Enjoy. I don't, because none of that makes any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. I was explaining to Mom that it was sort of like everybody took a field trip to Palace Playland and went to Zorbo or Zorro or not Zorro, whatever his name is in the movie Big, that starts with a Z. Zabar Zorro.
Why don't I know
starts with a Z. It's like a group of 14-year-olds went that all dislike each other, by the way, like clearly dislike each other. And they all went and woke up the next day and their mock trial became a real trial with actual lives on the line.
It's Zoltar.
Zoltar!
I had to
I
look
did
that up.
I did not get anywhere near there.
You did. You had to see.
The Z Zoltar. It's like they all went to Zoltar and then woke up in a shoebox with a jury and had to do the like trial things.
Well, and I mean, that's just so sad when you're dealing with something this delicate. It really is.
It really, I think that's what frustrates me the most is people's lives are on the line, no matter what your opinion of how good a parent they were or not. Her life is on the line. Her son has effectively ended 3 other people's, their families, and his own. And then I have the prosecutors. It was interesting though. It was interesting. The sexism, both watching it and not intentional, but watching it, it was fascinating to me that the petulant, whiny annoyingness of the of the female prosecutor and defense attorney received so much more vitriol than when the man did the exact same thing and sounded just as whiny and frankly whiny and more arrogant and annoying. But he was getting, when I was like watching chat and seeing things online, he was getting praised for taking control of the courtroom and stuff like that, where the women would do the same exact thing and be told that they were whiny and petulant and all of that. And it's fascinating to me, mostly because I found them all whiny and annoying. I spent half of both closing arguments with the, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Which is just, oh. But yeah, it was, and that, and well, I'll get to the sorry, not sorry thing. But it was the petulance in there when the women did it. Everybody hated it. I was like, she sounds like a child. She sounds like an overgrown kid, blah, blah, blah. And the man did it. And he was like, well, I don't like his style, but I understand his argument. Didn't love
Sorry. First of all,
That's
that's reminding me of so many people that I've heard say similar things about our former president. So I have to get past that mental roadblock for just a second. Yeah, I mean that is unfortunately, I think, a continuing just, what is the word I'm looking for? It's gender bias.
Yeah.
I don't know how well we've moved past any of them, but I do think that a woman's tone is more harshly judged and more weight is given to it always than a man's, which is completely stupid. I mean, just
Agreed.
so stupid. Because if it matters how I say it, then why doesn't it matter how anyone else says it? It's just, yeah, it's crazy. But it does seem to be, there are all these things that you learn as you and your parents and you start to get older. And one of them is that the first frequency of hearing loss is the typical female voice. Luckily for me, I sound like a man, so people will have to listen to me until the day they die. But
same.
Yeah. But the frequency of a typical female voice is actually one of the first that goes in hearing. And I don't know if there was a relation relation. We need to probably wrap this up soon between our
Yeah.
two brains farting away over here. But there's a relationship between that fact and the fact that there are always, always comments on women having tones of voices that are annoying or irritating, or, but you don't hear that about men.
No, you
Or at
don't.
least you don't hear that from men about men. And I don't think I hear it much at all about men. I know some men who sound really fucking irritating on the regular.
Oh, I mean, I thought of so many women when it was like when the male prosecutor was cross-examining the defendant, and it was like, so you trusted him with the weapon, but you didn't trust him to. I'm using an example that I don't think was in there. Like, you trusted him with a weapon, but you didn't trust him to take out the trash. And almost out loud, I was like, said so many women always.
Yeah.
Like, the one thing the man can be like, and I don't want to start extra sexism. I want to be very cautious of how to do that. But it was very real to me in this trial. The sexism in and the gender bias. Not so much sexism implies an intent that was not there. I think the gender bias, the hammering on her about her motherhood, like, you better do the same when daddy's on trial, or I'm going to have even more words with the prosecution, because it's not just up to her. If it is a two-parent household, it ain't just up to her. And I understand they're both being charged. But the argument the prosecution had set up was that she alone was responsible for this, which was a bad argument to begin with.
Yeah.
With an
But I
already
suppose
bad
they have
premise.
to argue it that way with either, or else there's nothing to prove. There's no, you can't bring the charges unless you charge them jointly, and I don't even know how that would work. But at the same time, I mean, if these two parents were both in the household, I don't see how you charge one alone. Like, I don't. That doesn't make sense to me. But separately, which is so weird, because it's like, anyway, the parental situation with my child is very weird. They would have much less trouble, I'm sure, charging me for her actions solely. But yeah, if both parents are in the household, I don't see how you get away with that.
I think the case started with the two of them going to trial together. Judging what we saw, and there were affairs, and there was all sorts of things. It seems as though what happened was they decided to split the. It seems to be that they have split the cases off from each other so that they can throw each other under the bus, which is not a great play. All of it was bad. I have never seen all of the things be bad. I've seen a lot of things be bad, but I've never, the defense was, except at least the defense made some reasonable arguments. I didn't necessarily like how she did it, but I hated how the prosecution did it. And then when the prosecution was like, we don't have to prove everything, that's what lost me. You do though. You do. The defense's closing got oddly specific in her stories and her analogies, and I have questions that I do not want the answer to.
Okay.
How she went the route of, if I'm probably misphrasing this, but not by much, basically, that the attorney as a mom, if her kids sent unsolicited photographs of themselves
Mm.
to somebody that they liked, would she then be on the hook legally for that interaction?
That would actually be
I think
easier
we
to
can fill
prove.
in the blanks. And I'm
That would
like,
be easier to prove if the parent owns the phone plan. But that's a different story. I would enjoy seeing that prosecuted in certain cases. But no, that's a terrible analogy. That's a terrible analogy.
but weirdly
Um,
specific. Like, that's one where I want to be like, ma'am, if your 11-year-old is doing that, then I do have questions for you.
troubling. Yeah, yeah.
Although,
And
as
there are
somebody
so many
pointed out,
better analogies to be had. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, I was just going to say somebody, I believe she was one of the defense attorneys for the gymnastics coach.
Oh,
So it was weirdly specific, but then on further thought with her particular case history, I was like, but I see where she got there. So I
I'm
just
like,
wanted to
wow,
fill
that's
in that blank, but
yeah,
still,
that's
like,
bizarre.
why that? Why go there?
I just, I just keep coming back to how this even got to the point of trial. I
Mm,
mean, I can't figure that out. And as you said earlier, when something like this happens, if I were that parent, my life would already be destroyed. No, I would need no
yeah.
help. I would need nobody to make me feel guilty. I would need nobody, not because I would in fact be guilty, but I mean, when my kid gets a bad grade, I feel guilty
Hmm.
because, oh, that must have, I should have been on top of that. I should have known that she needed to focus on that, whatever. So I just can't imagine the exponential, permanent destruction of your mental sanity, um, and your hope. And I don't even know it all. Anyway, so it's like, haven't these parents been through enough? Can't we?
That's kind of how I feel. Is like they've been through enough. The victims' parents have been like everybody's been through enough.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Why add to it? Why focus on breaking up the family? Why? Why is my question? Why and
Yeah.
how? And then so they do all the closings and stuff, and the jury has the weekend before they can deliberate. They didn't get to deliberate. Everything ended at 4:30 today, and they didn't get to deliberate. I will cover my thoughts on the jury and why, like, the idea of sequestering alternates. Hmm.
I was going to say the jury was not sequestered.
Mm-mm. No, most of the time, sequestering a jury this is the same courtroom that left the jury in the room for all of the sidebars.
True. True.
Uh, Questions. I do want to cover one thing that's a little bit lighter.
Yes.
I need to catch up on some of my other channels, but this came up on the other channel, and I love that channel, but they're all boys. And there are some things that they would not hear just because
Mm.
they're all grown men of a certain age, like over 20. So, um, but I wanted to talk with you about it because there was some discussion one of them had with their significant other over this is bullying and stuff. Recovery Addict, highly recommend. If you are a true crime person, go check out his channel. It's court hopping. It's super entertaining. Um, and so that for each trial, there's usually a counter that goes up in the corner. For the Taking Care of Maya trial, it was an objection counter. How many objections did we get in the trial? For one of the other trials, it was a pro se defendant, so there was a legal 101 counter at the bottom. And how many times did somebody slip in some legal advice? Did the judge basically give him legal advice? This one was the sorry, not sorry counter, because the defense attorney had the annoying habit of apologizing for breathing. I mean, she didn't literally apologize for breathing, but it was when in doubt, sorry came out of her mouth.
Yeah.
And so there was some back and forth of whether or not that, because she picked up on it and it made its way into closing arguments. I mean,
Wait,
yeah,
what?
yep. In her closing arguments, she was like, I mean, somebody on TikTok, I'm totally making fun of her, and I don't mean to do that. It's just the Michigan accent is so easy to make fun of. And I apologize. I'm from Maine. Boston is right around the corner. Believe me, I don't come from the pretty accent land. No, she was like, the internet has been paying attention to, I can't remember I would pull up the exact clip. And I will find it at some point. But
Oh, so
so
she literally, like, so these people, I'm just making, I've never watched this person, so this is just the voice in my head. So like these people on the internet were making fun of me for being an idiot, and I thought we should maybe talk about that. What do you think? Like that? What?
yeah,
I don't.
that was yes, yeah, that was how that came across.
Why? How? Oh,
it was part of her argument of I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. So like I say sorry a lot, and clearly on TikTok they picked up on it. It wasn't TikTok. It was definitely the RA chat. So people have picked up on it, and they're like counting how many times I say it. Definitely the RA chat. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, the part of the conversation nobody seems to be having is have a conversation with a woman, any woman, particularly a woman who is at a particular level in a predominantly male driven and run field.
Yeah.
We are trained from society and everything to apologize, especially if we know we're right.
Yes.
If we know that we are about to say something that is absolutely correct, but we don't want to come off as arrogant. I do it. I've done it. I worked in retail. It was the only way I survived retail because of how many times do you get, generally a man, but not always, on the phone and you have to be like, I'm so sorry. Insert whatever needs to happen here. Like, I'm so sorry. Maybe I'm wrong. It's just, this is a dumb case. Why did you bring it? I'm so sorry. And hence the sorry, not sorry counter, which I was like, that is for me, it made me aware of how many times she said it, but it also made me aware of how many times I do it.
Yes. I am the queen of apologizing for everything. I
stubbed my toe and apologized to the table.
Yeah.
I hit a pothole. Ridiculous. I apologized to my car for the fact that I hit a pothole. This is just my life is sorry, not sorry.
It's like it's this ingrained kind of way of making yourself smaller. It's really and it's very hard to let go of. Like there are times when I'm writing emails at work too, and I realize I'm like, I'm so sorry to bug you again, and I go, so really what I need to say here is the deadline is about to pass or already has for the information or thing that I needed from you. And I'm writing to remind you that it's due, like now. Please send it. But instead I go, I'm so sorry to ping you again. I was just wondering, just checking in on the below, blah, blah, blah. That's how we're trained. I don't.
Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, it was annoying, but literally every facet of all of the attorneys in that room annoyed me. That is me. Judging from the chat, that was not everybody. So I will be the first to say that was. But so I wanted, because they were starting to talk about it, because I watched these folks enough. Bullying is an absolute no-go in all of their chats. Meanness is never okay. Like the reason I hang out in those chats, the reason I watch those channels is because of the kindness. And a sorry not sorry counter, I could see where she would take where the defense attorney coming across that would be self-conscious about the fact she says that all the time. Also, looking at that lady's resume, I don't think it's unwarranted to poke a little fun here and there. And as somebody who you could absolutely, if I were in court, sorry, not sorry, and a light counter, like basic verbal fry. Choose your verbal fry of mine. You could have a counter, and I would be looking at that going, I should probably work on that. And I probably won't. And the thing is, and this is one point that I should I ever get the chance to say this to their face, I will, but she knows it. It's why she paid attention to it, but also it works for her. She would have changed it a long time ago, but judging from that male prosecutor, if she doesn't apologize for breathing or blinking or, I don't know, doing her job, she wouldn't get anywhere. So I respect choosing something that can get you ahead a little bit in that way. I would see that counter myself as something different personally, which is, yeah, that's how many times a woman has to say I'm sorry before she actually gets hurt.
If she even does, yeah.
Not across the board, but that's a different way of looking at it again, the guys aren't going to see that. They're not going to pick up on that. And I'm not sure any of their Mrs. ladies, the ladies in their life. Yes, the women in their life. I'm not, it's so ingrained in us until this became a part of a conversation. I didn't even think about it. So I don't know if any of us are going to see it as that. And it takes so much effort to not apologize for. I do the same thing, a work email. I'm sending a work email. It's the third email I've sent about a thing that I needed the information for a week ago. And instead of the, oh, so professional per my last email, I'm going, I'm so sorry. Maybe I missed it. Maybe you sent it already. I don't know. Could you please get this? It's annoying, but if I come in with, I've sent you 3 emails, please get back to me. I
need, yeah.
You're a little abrasive.
Yeah.
That's usually what I get when I don't couch everything with, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So.
I had an interesting work call recently where I almost stopped and commented on the fact that there was a question that I raised and another woman on the call said, oh, did I not copy you on those emails? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And she's clearly starting to dig through her emails, looking for the did I copy. Mandy on this. And I was like, well, maybe you did. Maybe I missed it. I'm sorry. I just, and she, oh, no, I probably didn't copy you. I'm going, why are we doing this? Like, just, it's fine. Just, can you give me the information now? And then we can all move forward. But I'm like in it, I'm doing the same thing. It was crazy. So it really is, it feels anyway, like it is a very pervasive trait. It does.
Yes.
For women.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to be curious as to where that happens in the next trials that I want. Like, I'm really curious as to male attorney, female attorney. How often does it happen? Where does it happen? And how are they perceived in the chats and things? I'm super fascinated.
Well,
I'm going to follow research project. I'm here for it. So yeah, as soon as we get we'll circle back to this when we get a verdict, and maybe when I have some video clips to show you things like I don't have to prove all my points. I'm stuck on that. It is your job as a prosecutor to do that.
And also, like, if you don't think you can prove all the points, maybe don't highlight that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Maybe
just save all that taxpayer money for a crime that should be prosecuted and maybe isn't being prosecuted. Have you
said prosecuted? I love you. I heard it. I caught it. You thought you got away with it. You didn't.
Oh, close. So close. We need a counter for how many times Aurora says something that she doesn't. How many times I invent a word without intending to invent the word.
See, I do all mine before we get on camera. That's my secret.
She does. I don't. I wait until the camera's running, and then my face and my brain betray me. They betray me.
Oh, now it's really dark.
Now it's really dark.
Where am I? All right, yes, we're going to fall asleep or giggle ourselves to death if we don't wrap this up. So
we will. We are going to. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. I am going to run this as a premiere. It is early enough that I will probably send this out tonight so that maybe tomorrow we can be in the chat. I need to figure out how to do that. I joined premieres, but I've never set one up on purpose before. I've set one up by accident. We're gonna circle back to all of these. Hopefully Murdaugh will just be quiet for a while.
That would be nice.
I feel like I just jinxed that, but maybe we'll be quiet in that department for a while. Verdict for Crumbley is probably going to be back on Monday. I can't imagine it's going to take them a whole lot of time, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a couple holdouts. I don't know. And then starting February, Hannah Gutierrez Reed's trial, and I will be following that one super closely. I don't care what LawTube's doing. I'll follow it in all the places. Put up a video on that trial. I'm going to follow it. And then while we're tiny, I want to take a look at some of the legal stuff with Trump. Well, while we're small, and not as likely to get doxxed and things. So, and if there are things, news, politics, we're heading into an election year, life. If there's anything that you guys all want us to cover, help, send a note, leave a comment.
Yes. A smoke signal, whatever you got, send it our way.
Yes. Yeah. So we're back, baby. And with that, I'm gonna roll the outro. I had another thought. I'm buffering. I'm rolling the outro. We'll see ya.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of The Unfiltered Tea. Don't forget to hit that like button. If you have a story you want our unfiltered take on, go ahead and drop it in the comments, and we will see you next time.